All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Wakarkadash, and the Heavenly Father. True name is Yahweh, and His unbegotten Son, Bahashem, the name of Mashiach Shai. Those Heavenly Father's true name, which is Yahweh, and His unbegotten Son, Hamashiach Shai. Those are their true names in the ancient Paleo Hebrew, the Mashmar Kadash tongue. And I say Barakatham to the elders and apostles, while Akim Akwaf, and I say Shalom. And the Heavenly Father, the true name is Yahweh, and His unbegotten Son, Bahashem, and the name of Mashiach Shai. Those are their true names in the ancient Paleo Hebrew, the Mashmar Kadash tongue. And I say Barakatham to the elders and apostles, while Akim Akwaf, and I say Shalom. And this is a sit-down lesson of the prophecy updates as of June the 14th, 2025 on this Saturday night. And this is a prime example of uproars and people in the world. Like it says in the book of Luke 21, verse 25. And as we've been seeing, these protests have been taking place almost a week and a half now. You know, especially with this anti-Trump protests, this anti-immigration protests as well too have been taking place. And as you had the Trump's birthday, and you had his you had Donald Trump's birthday was today on June 14th, and then you had the No Kings protests, and the immigration protest was taking place, and you had the military celebration, which is the 250 and I would say 250 year anniversary of the military parade that took place in Washington D.C. As I had a side note to that. And this is a news article from RT.com as of June the 15th, 2025. And it reads, shooting at an anti-Trump rally leaves men critical injured. It says the incident occurred during the No Kings demonstration in Salt Lake City. It says one person was critically injured after a gunman opened fire during a protest march against the policies of U.S. President Donald Trump in Salt Lake City, Utah, on Saturday evening. It says police said a person of interest has been detained at the scene. It says according to the Salt Lake City, it says Tribune, the incident occurred on Stage Street, directly outside of a Liberty Sky apartment building. Video from the scene shows protesters running in panic after gunshots were fired. It says the victim has been hospitalized with life-threatening injuries, the person says. It says we have a person of interest in custody. It says the Salt Lake City Police Department said in a statement. It says photos and videos circulating on social media appears to show black pinning down a man dressed in black and handcuffing him.
Oh my God, that's a gun. That's a gun. Come on. Come on. Get out. Get over here. Shay, come here. That was a gun. Okay. 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 We're on State Street right here. That is that one street. If we go through that parking garage, we can get to where we're going. Yeah, someone got shot over there, y'all. I heard it. Yeah. treating someone right there on the ground. I don't know who it was.
It says the No Kings March took place in cities across the United States protesting Trump's crackdown on illegal immigration and the deployment of the National Guard and the active duty Marines during a unrest in Los Angeles sparked by immigration raids. The demonstration concluded with a celebration of the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Army, which also falls on Trump's birthday. This is the book of Second Ezra, chapter 15 and verse 15. It says, "For the sword of destruction draweth nigh, and one people should stand up and fight against another with swords in hands," right with these protesters and these increasing seditions and the uprising and the uproar speaking the world, nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom. Second Ezra 15 verse 16, "For there shall be sedition among men, invading one another. They should not regard their kings nor their princes, and of course action stand in power." Right, got the conservatives versus the liberals. And then you got this, what took place earlier today, like I mentioned once before, took place over there in Minnesota. The incident occurred. You had these two Democratic lawmakers. They got deleted by this individual. He was 57 years old, but I believe he escaped from the scene because he had went to two different locations, not too far from one another over there in Minnesota, like a suburban area, because you had these you had Democratic lawmakers. I believe that was a couple. They had to be in like in their 40s, 50s, I believe. And then you had this, here you go. Yep, it says the latest updates. Manhunt for a suspect and a target of Minnesota lawmaker shootings. Yep, Minnesota lawmaker shooting, because both of them was deleted on the scene. Once the guy, he was impersonated as a cop. He had a squad car, so he knocked on their door. I believe it was like 2 in the morning, if I'm not mistaken. And then he had killed two, these two couples of Democratic lawmakers over there in Minnesota. 2 of them was killed and 2 were injured. And the suspect was able to manage to flee away. So this is an example of "For there shall be sedition among men, invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor their princes, and of course the action stand in power." Right, so you're gonna have citizens rise up against their leaders in power, and of course the action stand in power. And that's what we're seeing. And this is Second Ezra, chapter 9 and verse 3. It says, "Therefore, when it shall be seen earthquakes and uproars people the world." Right, that's what we're seeing, increasing earthquakes and uproars people the world. It's the book of Luke 21 and verse 25. "And there shall be signs in the sun and the moon and the stars upon the earth, the expressive nations with perplexity will run." Right, as we're seeing increasing of expressive nations with perplexity will run with these protests, seditions, uprisings, uproars in the world, nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom. That's what we're seeing. And this is the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 3, verse 8. "In a time to love, in a time of HATE, in a time of war, and time of peace." Right, we're definitely living in a time of HATE, which is lawlessness and iniquity is abounding, like it says in Matthew 24, verse 12, and 2 Timothy 3, verse 1 as a prime example, as I reference those scriptures. And we're living in a time of war. We're seeing the wars, the rumors of wars heating up between Iran and Israel, and all these nuclear escalations are intensifying, heating up in our world today. So we definitely live in a time of HATE, in a time of war, now so more than ever. And this is the book of St. Mark, chapter 3, and verse 24. "And if a kingdom be divided against itself, the king cannot stand." Right, that's what we're saying. "And if a kingdom be divided against itself, the king cannot stand." St. Mark 3, verse 25. "And if a house be divided against itself, the house cannot stand." Right, got the liberals versus conservatives, with this anti-immigration protest. And then you got this No Kings protest. So you got the conservatives versus the liberals. We've seen that heating up. You got the BLN. You got the Mexican protesters. You got Antifa versus the conservatives and going against their leaders in power. And that's what we're seeing with these uproars of protests, seditions, uprisings, uproars, people world. So we're seeing signs of that. And this is the book of Matthew, chapter 24, and verse 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. Right, that's we hear Iran versus Israel. The pro-Iranian groups going against the Israel Defense Force. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not in trouble for all these things must first come to pass, but the end is not yet. Matthew 24:7. For nation shall rise against nation, which goes into F notes, because you're gonna have a nation within itself rise up against a nation within itself. Outside of another nation rise against another nation. For nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. Matthew 24:8. All these are the beginning of sorrows, right? So all these biblical signs that we're seeing increasingly showing forth now, so more than ever, it's only just the beginning of it increasing more and more and more. Yep, so as it says, once again, it says shooting at an anti-Trump rally leaves a man critical injured. The incident occurred during the No Kings demonstration in Salt Lake City. It says, as of June the 13th, 2025, and it reads from RT.com, it says Israel and Iran exchange new waves of strikes, live updates. It says the IDF jet targets oil and gas facilities in Taiwan as the Iranian missiles reportedly struck an oil and refining at Haifa. This is the Israel and Iran continue mutual attacks through Saturday and into Sunday. It says, marking the unprecedented level of open hostilities. It says the IDF struck several energy sites, including a refinery in South Pars, the world's largest natural gas field, and an open deposit in Taiwan. Iran launched more missiles in Tel Aviv, and some hitting apartments blocks. Also tagged Haifa. It says where the oil refinery was reportedly struck. It says on Friday that Israeli jets bombed multiple targets across Iran, including a uranium enrichment center in Natanz. It says, and it carried out a target and assassinations on several senior military commanders and scientists. Iran retaliated by firing dozens of ballistic missiles into Israel. Israel Prime Minister Netanyahu said the strikes dubbed Operation Rising Lion aims to prevent Iran from acquiring nuclear weapons, and Iran could condemn the attacks as unprovoked and suspended nuclear talks with the United States, with the latest rounds of scheduled for Sunday. And this is Israel launched its strikes one day after the international nuclear watchdog, the IEA, accused Iran of violating its non-proliferation obligations. Iran rejects the allegations as a political motive. It says, although the U.S. insists it was not involved, President Donald Trump endorsed the Israeli operation. Russia condemned Israel and called for de-escalation. Russia and Vladimir Putin had a call with Trump on Saturday, during which they have agreed on a possible restarting negotiations over the Iran nuclear program. It says, according to the Putin's foreign policy aide, Yuri Yashikov, June the 15th, 2025, update. It says 3:46 in GMT. Iranian officials expressed concerns that further Israeli strikes and critical infrastructure could lead to a public unrest, including protests, according to the New York Times on Friday. During the meeting, the Council Supreme Leader, Security Council, one participant, reportedly noted that the potential attacks on water and energy facilities might trigger civilian disturbance. The Time report, the Times report, citing interviews with senior Iranian officials and members of the Revolutionary Guards, as Iran leadership was caught off guard by Israel preemptive strikes, which targeted radar systems, air defense, and missile sites. It says resulted in the death of several high-ranking military officials. The videos supposedly shows the Israelis taking shelter in a tunnel as Iran ballistic missile strikes. This is from the Web Powerless on X. It says the Israelis who took shelter from Iranian ballistic missiles in a tunnel were singing "God Always Loved Me" while keeping morally high, a nation like no other. At 3:19 GMT time, it says one of the Iranian missiles has struck the Weizmann Institute Science in Tel Aviv. According to the CCTV footage, shows a explosion at the site. The Iranian state media in a social post suggesting that the strike may have been retaliation for Israel's assassination of Iran's nuclear scientist. This is from Fars News Agency. Video clip right here.
Calm. Download the free app now. There's an easier way to bank and get up to $500 in 5 minutes or less when you download Dave. Good news, all you hot sauce toting, red pepper flake loving fans of heat. Olive Garden's Create Your Own Pasta has a limited time spicy 3-meat sauce with all the fire and flavor you've been craving. Not here for the heat, just pair your go-to sauce and pasta. Or give our new bucatini a twirl.
This is 2:18 GMT time. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu messaged to the Iranian people, claiming that the Israel supports them hypocritically and they light hypocritically, if I pronounce that right. It says in a light of recent Israeli airstrikes in Tehran. Ispan Corralio, news editor of the Cradle told the RT on Saturday. A lot of Anglo media came out and said that to stand by the people that you just bombed relentlessly. It says Corleo said, and this address Netanyahu says Israeli fight was not with the people of Iran, but with the he called murderous regime that is president. He emphasized that the solidarity with the Iranian citizens and urged them to stand up for their freedom. We must respect and admire brave people of Iran, he said.
Are you a cat? No, I'm a duck.
And this is from 1:47 GMT time. Israel's Adam NDA ambulance service has updated the casualty total from the latest Iranian missile barrage on Saturday night. The Magnet David Adam, the NDA spokesperson following the rocket strike in Gurstan, woman 60 performed dead, some 20 injured, moderate and mild. In Sheffield, 24 injured, and near 3 interest building, 2 seriously, and 8 moderate, and 14 mild. The EMTs, paramedics on the scene, rescue ops are ongoing. 1:45 GMT time. It says Iran Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps have warned that Tehran attacks on Israel will become heavier and more intensive if Israeli strikes on nuclear and military targets across Iran continue. Most likely it is going to continue. Most likely it is going to continue. It says the statement followed a barrage of dozens of ballistic missiles launched by Iran at the Israel earlier in the night, killing as 3 people and injured 7 others. 1:38 GMT time. The Israeli military jets has carried out a extensive series of strikes and targets in Tehran related to the Iranian regime nuclear weapons project. Nuclear fuel deposits on the IDF said on Sunday. The targets include the Iranian Defense Ministry headquarters and the headquarters of the SPND nuclear project and the project. And the additional targets will advance the Iranian regime efforts to obtain a nuclear weapon and where the Iranian regime hid nuclear archives, it said 00:45 GMT time, and 1 person was killed and more than 20 others were hospitalized following a Iranian attack on the apartment block in Bathian near Tel Aviv. The White Net report citing medics. It says breaking news. This is from World Source News 24/7 from X reported breaking footage of photos from Bathian and Tel Aviv. A heavy damage in the area of the impact. This is June the 14th. Yep, June the 14th, 2025 at 23:09 GMT time. It says Iranian missile struck a 2-story home in Timur and near Haifa, killing 3 people and injuring 7, according to the Times of Israel. Earlier, a video circulating a social media appears to show a strike on an oil refinery in Haifa. And this is from 22:44 GMT time. Tehran is burning, the Israel Defense First Minister Israel Katz wrote on X. He warned that Israel will pay a heavy price if it continues to launch missiles. This is Matthews 24:7. For nation shall rise against nation. Right as we're seeing Iran versus Israel. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, which goes into F notes. And there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. This is the prophet Joel, chapter 3, verse 9. It says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty man. Not all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Right, that's what we're seeing. The nations being gathered up over there in Western Asia. And all these nuclear escalations are heating up, especially particularly right now between Iran and Israel. We're seeing that heating up. And we're seeing the Heavenly Father putting that warlike mindset of these arms of nations. And this is definitely being proclaimed among the Gentiles and the arms of nations. Prepare for war, wake up the mighty man, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Joel chapter 3, verse 10, beat your plowshares and the swords and the plenty hooks and the spears, like the weak sound strong. Right, that's what we're seeing Iran building up their nuclear capability, intensifying their strikes against Israel Defense Force. And we're seeing the pro-Iranian groups rising up against the Israel Defense Force as well, too. And potentially, according to reports, that the United States military bases, they might get targeted as well, too, over there in the Middle East. Even though some troops been withdrawn from over there before those preemptive strikes was going to take place from potential from Iran. So potentially, Iran which is the pro-Iranian groups. Potentially, they might target military troops over there in the Middle East, which you still got some soldiers still stationed over there, like in Iraq, in Syria, and different parts over there in the Middle East. So we definitely starting to see that the weak sound sprung from the pro-Iranian groups and from Iran going against the Israel Defense Force and United States armies as well too. This is Revelation chapter 11 and verse 14. The second will pass, behold, the third will come quickly. Right, so the second will pass, behold, the third will come quickly. The second will express came to pass, now the third will express come quickly. So with that, hopefully this sit down lesson was edifying of the prophecy updates, especially increasing tension between Iran and Israel. And we've seen the protests have been taking place here in the United States and different processes around the world as well too. So we're definitely living in some modern day biblical signs of the signs of the times. So with that, once again, I just want to add a side note to that. So with that, once again, hopefully this was edifying of prophecy updates as of June the 14th, 2025 on this Saturday night. So with that, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem Makakadash, and the Heavenly Father, the two names Yahweh and Zombie and Son Bahashem, and the name of Mashiach Abshai. Those are the true names in the ancient Paleo Hebrew, the Last Wakadash tongue. I say Barak Thumb to the elders and apostles. Until next time, I will say Shalom.